my topic is on discourse on my topic for today is discourse on women's rights in post-colonial India. And in my PPT, you can see that I'm going to speak about ancient India. Uh, can I go to the next slide, please? Hello,
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am. Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
ma'am. Can
Okay.
you go on to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, is it introduction part?
yes. Introduction.
Is it visible to all? Introduction.
No, right now we are on slide one, the topic.
Change ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. Participant join. Stop madam, stop. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು. Share ಆಯ್ತು. ಇದು. Share. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, if someone can just, when I say just go to the next slide, if you
Okay.
can just help me with that. Yeah, thank you. So the history of women's rights in India is rich and varied. That's what I want to stress on, reflecting the countries, because India is diverse culturally, religiously, and historically. In all these contexts, India is very diverse. Women in India have played significant roles in various aspects of society. Throughout history, we can see that they have faced challenges, they have faced discrimination, and the struggle for women in India is been shaped by centuries of traditional. Now, what are the reasons? Traditionalism, colonialism, social reform movements have also taken place, and modernization. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide, please. Now, I have divided my PPT into ancient India and medieval India and modern India and what the British rule actually brought about. And then finally, I'm going to speak about the Constitution of India. So let's look at the period of ancient India and what was the position of women in ancient India. In ancient India, women occupied respected positions in society. And you can see this, and it is evidence can be seen from the presence of female deities in Hindu mythology and participation of women in various, women used to participate in various religious rituals and scholarly pursuits. However, codification of Hindu laws such as Manusmriti, all of us know about it, relegated women to subordinate roles within their family and society, and they imposed restriction on their freedom and rights. So this was the period of how women were looked upon in ancient India. Can we move on to the next slide? Medieval India. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. In the medieval period, the status of women in India was further influenced. You have the Islamic rule that came about, you have new cultural and social norms that were introduced, and women enjoyed certain legal rights. Now, which are these legal rights that women enjoyed? Such as property ownership and inheritance. They were subject to patriarchal customs and practices. So they had to do certain patriarchal customs and practices that which they had to follow. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Now we have the advent of the British colonial rule. All of us know that the British ruled us in the 18th and 19th centuries, and this brought about significant changes to the Indian society, including shifts in gender dynamics. British colonial policies often reinforced traditional patriarchal structure. They also introduced ideas about education, governance, and legal reform. Colonialism led to the emergence of early feminist voices, and women's education was allowed. Widows could remarry, and there were a lot of legal rights given by the British rule in the 18th and the 19th century. Let's move on to the next slide. In the 19th and 20th century, we have a lot of social reform movements that, that came about, which addressed a lot of issues such as child marriage, sati is that widow burning, parda system. Leaders like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Mahatma Gandhi played a key role in advocating for women's rights and social equality. So in 19th century, we have all these social reform movements that took place in the 19th and the 20th century, which tried to bring about changes in women's, which tried to give more freedom to the women. Move on, please. So now this movement gained momentum and during the struggle for independence from the British rule. And you have women like Sarojini Naidu, Kamala Devi, Aruna Asafi, who actively participated in the national movement. And they contributed a great to the shaping of the future of India. Of course, the Indian National Congress, under the leadership of Nehru, Ambedkar, included women's rights as part of its agenda for social and political reform. We know that Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India who took a great initiative. B.R. Ambedkar, who is the father of the Indian Constitution, who played a major role in, giving women their rights. Next slide, please. In the post-colonial period, now that's what my focus is on. That is, after India gained independence in 1947, we adopted a constitution. Now all of us know what is a constitution. A constitution is something which gives us the rules, regulations, articles, principles. So the principles of equality, freedom, justice is something that was ensured not for only one section of society, but it was introduced for all citizens. And our constitution is great in the sense that it gives us fundamental rights. And these fundamental rights, we all of us know that they are mentioned in the constitution, which is considered to be the Bible of the whole of India. We can refer to the constitution at any point of time. Now, we all know what are the fundamental rights that all of us enjoy, irrespective of whether we are a man or a woman. And we are also aware of, what are the constitutional remedies that are mentioned in the Indian constitution, like habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, certiorari. Now, in spite of having all these legal protections, women in India are still facing challenges. Now, why are they facing challenges? These challenges are gender-based violence, unequal access to resources, and social inequality. As a woman, I myself know how many roles we have to play as a housewife, as a mother, as a teacher, as in the society where we represent ourselves. We have to manage and balance all roles, irrespective of all the privileges that the Constitution guarantees us. But do we really enjoy them is a question to be asked to all of us. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Now, in recent decades, grassroots movements, women organizations, and legal reforms have sought to address a lot of issues. Now, what are the landmark initiatives that are there? You have the National Commission for Women, who's protecting women, and Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. You have Campaign Against Female Feticide. Then you have dowry violence, which has contributed rising awareness and promoting gender equality. Now, this is what are the landmark initiatives that has happened in India itself. Next slide, please. Now, since progress has been made, significant barriers to women's rights, you can still see that women are still not enjoying their full rights because of the patriarchal attitudes that we have, the caste-based discrimination, and all the socio-economic disparities that we see in India. And the struggle for women's rights in India is a part. Women do not struggle only in India. Women struggle everywhere, in every part of the globe. You can see that women are suffering. Now, just 2 days back, I saw about a case in Pakistan itself, where a woman who just got married, and she had the right to divorce. She divorced her husband within a span of 4 days, because on the grounds that she was not satisfied, because the person whom she married. But this was the initiative that the woman took. But earlier, women would definitely not come out and do such a thing. But it is on news. You can watch it on YouTube as well. The woman divorced the husband within 4 days because she was not compatible to his standard. Because she said that the man is shy, not up to her standard, and these are people who have come out and have. Put their voice forward. Whereas we know the case about in India, where triple talaq was very common. Anyways, I'm going to see it in my next slide as well. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Now, let's look at the women's rights in India. As I said before, the constitution gives us a lot of rights in India. And the first right that a woman has is right to equality. Women have the legal right to equality before the law and equal protection of the law without any discrimination based on gender. This includes protection against discrimination in employment, education, healthcare, and other areas of public and private life. So, all of us, all women, should consider themselves equal with men as far as their rights are concerned, whether it's employment, education, healthcare, and other areas of private and public life. The second one is non-discrimination. Now, what is non-discrimination? Women have the right to be free from all forms of discrimination, including direct and indirect discrimination, harassment, unequal treatment based on gender. This includes protection against discrimination in wherever there should be no discrimination when it comes to promotion, when it comes to pay, and when it comes to working conditions. Then you have the right to education. All women in India have the legal right to access quality education at all levels without any discrimination. This includes right to primary and secondary education as well as higher education and vocational training. The next is right to work. Women have the right to work and pursue a career of their own choice without any discrimination. No one can dictate to you what you need to do and what you need not do. You have a right to pursue a career of your choice. This includes right to equal pay for equal work, protection against workplace. There should be no discrimination at your workplace. How many women raise their voices in case if they are discriminated by the patriarchs in their workplace? There should be no sexual harassment, no harassment whatsoever. And women should not forget that they have maternity leave and other benefits. We should be equally aware of what are our rights. It is only when we are aware of our rights we can fight for them. So if you don't know your rights, somebody can easily misuse you and exploit you. Then you have the right to health. Women have the right to access comprehensive health care services, including reproductive health care, maternal health care, treatment for conditions that disproportionately affect women. And you also have all your other facilities that yeah, are given to you by the government, which you should make use of. Then you also have reproductory rights. Women have the legal right to make decisions about their own bodies. Now, this is very important, including the right to access reproductive health care, contraception, safe and legal abortion services. Reproductive rights also encompass the right to have children and the right to protection from forced sterilization and other forms of reproductive coercion. So, women should not forget what are their reproductive rights. The next is you have freedom from violence. Now, women have the right to live free from all forms of violence. Now, we all know so much of domestic violence takes place in a home. How many women educated today, their homes are being, they are violated either by the people in the family or or the male who dominate the family. But how many of us have the right to register a police complaint against our family? And I do remember when I was doing my thesis on human rights, one such thing, although my thesis is on children's human rights and how their rights have been violated, I have also come across families where the husbands violate the rights of their own wives, and the women are silent. They will not complain because it will bring a bad name to the neighbors and to the society. So it's high time for women to live free from all types of violence, including domestic violence, sexual assault, trafficking, and harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation, which is called as FCM, and of course child marriage, which has a little bit come down, not so much. So I believe that all of us have a right to free ourselves from all kinds of violations that take place. Then, of course, you have the property rights. You have the legal right to own, inherit, and manage property on an equal basis with men. This includes right to land, housing, and other assets, as well as protection against discriminatory. You have the inheritance laws and practices. So all women have property rights that also we should not, forget the rights that we have, the property rights that we own. Then you have political rights as well, which women have the right to participate. You have the right to vote. You have the right to take part and stand for elections. You have right to the include hold public office. All these belong to you. So you can stand for election, you can vote, you have the right to criticize the government of the day. So these are your political rights, which all of us enjoy in India. You have legal protection in conflict and crisis. Women have the right to protection and assistance in situations of armed conflict, humanitarian crisis, and displacement. This includes protection from gender based violence, access to essential services, participation in peace building and post conflict reconstruction efforts. So, if you look at these rights, let us analyze them. Do I enjoy my right to equality, which is guaranteed by the Constitution? Right to non discrimination, there should be absolutely no discrimination against you, because all these rights are guaranteed to you by the Indian Constitution. You have a right to education. All women, all girls have a right to education. And now, right to education itself has become a right. According to the 86th Amendment, you have right to work, right to health, right to reproductive rights, freedom from violence, property rights. So we should not forget all these rights. And you have special provisions which are made specially for women and children under Article 15(3) of the Indian Constitution. Can we please move to the next slide? Now, what are the key legislations? Let us look at this. All of us are definitely aware of it. The Hindu Succession Act of 1956 grants women the right to claim parental property. Now, very often, the girls are married off and that's the end of the story. But we should also remember that women has a right to claim parental property, with a 2005 amendment allowing daughters to be co-compensers. The second one is Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Now, this provides legal course for women facing domestic violence. So, anyone facing, or we should, as educators, as teachers, we always need to, help our society. We need to help women who are actually facing domestic violence, and the law or act which comes to our aid is the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Then, of course, Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013 addresses workplace harassment. We know about several people, several women going through harassment and at workplace. It is sexual harassment which is going on, but often women keep quiet. It is high time women raise their voices, and that's why this act came in 2013. All of us are aware of the Vishaka guidelines, okay, which came about as a result of the sexual harassment at workplace. You have Equal Remuneration Act 1976, which ensures equal pay for equal work. If we are working so hard, and I believe that all men and women work hard, but women should not be given a lesser salary as compared to men. So equal pay, equal work. And I believe that as teachers in different colleges, wherever we are teaching, all of us are paid equal salaries for the for the time or the years of experience that we all have worked for. And of course, you have Maternity Benefit Act 1961, which provides maternity benefits to women employers. So we have to be aware about that whenever we have to use this the rights that are given to us. We should fight for our rights, and we should get our maternity benefits. Of course, childcare is also there. Childcare is also there for women, so they should be also aware of it. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Now, let's look at some of the landmark judgment upon women's rights in India. The first one is Vindhya Saxena versus East Delhi Municipal Corporation, right to use mother's surname. I'm not going to go into detail over here about this particular case, but I'm sure when you have time, you can always refer to it. It is a case of a husband and a wife and their child, and the right to use the mother's surname. The very important case here is the Shaira Banu versus Union of India Gender Justice and Women's Right case. Now, this Shaira Banu versus Union of India is a landmark case in Indian legal history that challenged the practice of triple talaq, a form of instant divorce in Muslim personal law. And as we know, that Shaira Banu is a Muslim woman, was divorced by her husband through triple talaq after 15 years of marriage. She filed a petition in the Supreme Court, arguing that this practice violated her fundamental rights under the Indian Constitution. Now, what were the key issues in this case? Whether triple talaq is an essential practice of Islam and protected under Article 25 of the Constitution, whether triple talaq violates fundamental rights, including equality before law, that's your Article 14, prohibition of discrimination, Article 15, and the right to life and personal liberty. Now, the judgment came so the Supreme Court, in a 3-2 majority decision, ruled that triple talaq is unconstitutional. The court held that this practice is arbitrary, discriminatory, and violates the principles of equality and dignity. The judgment emphasized that constitutional rights take precedence over discriminatory practices, even with personal laws. So, which finally led to a law. This case, the Shaira Banu case, led to significant reforms, including Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act 2019. The law criminalizes triple talaq, making it punishable offense with up to 3 years in prison and a fine. Second is empowerment of Muslim women. The judgment empowered Muslim women to challenge other discriminatory practices, paving the way for further legal reforms. And of course, uniform civil code debate. The case reignited discussions about implementing a uniform civil code which aims to have a common set of rules governing personal matters across religions. Now, the Shaira Banu case marks a crucial step towards realizing the constitutional promise of equal citizenship regardless of gender or religious affiliation. It affirms that religious customs cannot supersede fundamental rights protected by the Indian Constitution. Now, another thing that I would say in connection with this is, in Goa especially, we have the Uniform Civil Code. So whether you are a Hindu, whether you are a Muslim, or whether you are a Christian or a Sikh or a Parsi or any religion, we have a uniform civil code in Goa, which was actually brought about by the Portuguese rule that we have in Goa. So women in Goa having enjoy their rights. Their marriages are registered. They get their rights to civil rights, political rights, whatever rights they are enjoying it to the full. And women have also gone to the extent that in case if their rights are violated, they will go to the court and file a complaint. So let's look at the other case is the Vishaka versus Union of India. Vishaka versus state of Rajasthan, a very important case which is related to the sexual harassment that actually took place at workplace. The Vishaka guidelines, as you would call it, Vishaka and the state of Rajasthan is a landmark, another landmark, a very important case in Indian judicial history that addressed the issues of sexual harassment at the workplace. The case was sparked by, now what is this case about? It was a brutal gang rape of Banwari Devi. She was a social worker in Rajasthan who was targeted for trying to prevent a child marriage. Despite the severity of the crime, the perpetrators were acquitted, highlighting the need for stronger laws to protect women from sexual harassment. Now, some of the key issues of this case are lack of legal protection. The case highlighted the absence of specific laws to address workplace harassment and violence against women. Now, fundamental rights. The petitioners argued that workplace harassment violated women's fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution. Now, which rights? Article 14, which is equality before law. Article 15, prohibition of discrimination, Article 19 to practice any profession, and Article 21 right to life and personal liberty. And of course, in the judgment of Vishaka guidelines, as you would call it, Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment, formulating guidelines to prevent sexual harassment at the workplace, known as the Vishaka guidelines. It defined what is sexual harassment. It established preventive and remedial measures and directed employers to ensure a safe working environment for women. So, this is a very important case that was taken up. That's why it's called Vishaka, which was taken up by the by the courts. We then have Air India versus Nargesh Mizra, 1981, upheld equal pay for equal work. Maybe you can go through it. It is about an air hostess who filed a case against Air India with regards to her continuity of service. And then, of course, you have Maya Devi versus State of Maharashtra, which questioned provisions requiring female workers to obtain permission before marriage. So I've highlighted to you two important cases. One is Shaira Banu versus Union of India, which speaks about gender justice and women's rights, and the Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan, which is speaking about sexual harassment at workplace, because this is something which is happening off and on again and again. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Can we have the next slide, please? Hello? Can we move on to the next slide? Challenges and initiatives. Now, please remember what are the challenges and initiatives that. Can we go to the previous slide before challenges and initiatives? Okay, we have done with it. Okay, can you now move to challenges and initiatives? Okay. Now, what are the challenges and initiatives? What initiatives can we take, and what are the challenges? Now, you have the Women's Reservation Bill, which aims to reserve 33% seats in Parliament and state legislative assemblies for women. You now women can contest. You have the Women's Reservation Bill, which also allows scheduled caste and scheduled tribes to also, get full access to the political system, where they can stand for elections, they can contest elections, irrespective of which caste grade they belong to. Then you have the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. This promotes girl child education and addresses sex selective practices. And then you have the National Commission for Women, who's taking up all the who in cases, it investigates and addresses all women's issues that are happening in India. So it is very important that the National Commission for Women in India is playing a very important role in India. So we have the now just to bring the Beti Padhao Beti Bachao Beti Padhao is a initiative, or it is a flagship program launched by the government of India in 2015, and it addresses the declining child sex ratio and promotes girl education. Now, the objectives of this Beti Bachao Beti Padhao is prevent gender-based sex selection, stop female feticide and infanticide. Secondly, it ensures survival and protection of the girl child, improve their health, improve the nutrition of the girls, and it promotes education, encourage girls' education and empowerment. And the key components of this flagship program is awareness generation. We need to promote campaigning, and we need to campaign the value of girls and challenge all the stereotypes that are existing. It is a multi-sectoral action. It's a collaboration between government departments, civil society, and communities, for which we all need to come together, and we need to monitor and evaluate, track the progress and impact of this flagship program. And I'm sure this will help to improve the child sex ratio. It will increase enrollment, more girls enrolling in schools, and the rate of dropout will definitely decrease, and you will have more of empowerment of girls, which is challenging to the societal norms. Now, this we need to all support this, because Bachao, Beti Padhao has made a significant stride in promoting girls' rights and empowerment. And I think all of us need to have, an impact on this, ensure, and we should see that this initiative is going to the grassroots grassroots level to ensure a bright future for all girls in India. So it's very important to support this kind of initiatives. And of course, you have the National Commission for Women, which takes up women's cases. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay. So, in my conclusion, I would like to say let us reaffirm our commitment to the principles of equality, justice, and human dignity. Because all of us know our preamble plays a very important role. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign socialist, secular, democratic republic. So if we say our country is sovereign, our country is socialist, our country is secular, which means anyone can practice any religion. Um, we already know what is going on today. The religious rights have been violated of a one particular religion. I would not like to say, because you're all aware of, like, the nuns been harassed. The nuns been in India have been put behind bars for no reason. So what's going on in India? We call India as a secular state. Secularism. Anyone can practice any religion. Anyone can profess their religion and can maintain their own religious institutions. So we know, let us reaffirm our commitment. Let us be equal to all. Let us give justice to all. And let us respect our freedom, human dignity. Let us all pledge to stand with women and girls everywhere. Sometimes it is very sad to see that women, they say, try to bring the other women down. I don't know how many women are there in my presentation today, but I don't know what is your reaction to this. Often it is said that a woman is responsible for bringing another woman down. Let us put an end to this. Let us stand for women and girls everywhere, irrespective of what caste, creed, religion, what background they come from. Listen to their voices, amplify their struggles and triumphs. Let us be a part of their struggle. As educators, as teachers educating, let's not only lecture, let's not only deliver in our classrooms, let us also play a very important role in being their backbone. I remember a case. Let me just, I know I am almost, uh, I do have some time. Let me tell you about my initiative. I have freed a girl. My MPhil thesis was on rights of prisoners in the Agwad jail. There's a jail in Goa which was initially in Agwad, now it is shifted. A IAS officer and his wife, had harassed a maid worker, and it came to my light that this woman was harassed in the house, was not given food all the time. They would only make her work. This is a case in Goa. And that time I was teaching in a law college. I was teaching political science in a law college, VM Salgaonkar College of Law, very famous college in Goa, though now I teach in a general college, aided by the government. So there was a girl, a maid, who went through a lot of harassment, and this case was brought to my notice by one of my students. So that student of mine and I went to rescue her. She was put behind bars in the Agwad jail. I know it was a lot of expenditure, a lot of up and down going, but then in the end we were victorious. We were able to free that girl, that maid, who belongs from the state of, from down south. I will not take which state she is. Her name is Javina Sheikh, a Muslim girl who was working for an IAS officer. We tried to free her from the Agwad jail, and simply allegations were put on her because by the IAS officer and his wife, and we tried to free her from that place and give her her rights. And later on, it dawned on me that I should do my MPhil, and my MPhil thesis was to free It was on women in the Agwad jail. How many of them are detained for no reason, no fault of theirs? Many times you are not a culprit, you are not a murderer, but you are caught and been put behind bars. So my MPhil thesis was on that. Yeah. Okay. So finally, I can say that together, we can build a world where women are free to pursue their dreams, exercise their rights, and contribute full to society. Okay. The journey towards gender equality may be long and challenging, but with perseverance and collective action, we can create a future where all individuals, regardless of gender, can thrive. So let us, my dear fellow participants, let us all journey towards gender equality. I know it is hard work, I know it is collective action, but we can definitely create a future for everyone where all of us can enjoy our rights. Thank you so much for your patient listening, and I'm now open to any queries from your end. Participants, if you have any questions, you are free to, I'm free to answer them right now. Just for the information of the participants, my MPhil thesis was on women prisoners in the Agwad jail in Goa, and my PhD thesis was on human rights perspective of child labor in Goa. So I have worked